Well, hello and welcome back to the House of Valentina. I'm Valentina and I am so excited about today's video because we are going to be talking about the House of Valentina colors of the year. So of course, as a designer, I love to be able to look at color trends that paint companies come out with. Sometimes I feel like those colors are a little bit of a miss and they're not really what I'm looking to create. I'm trying to be polite. Okay, so those colors aren't ones I would use. All right, there, I'm just gonna be blunt. So what I like to do as a designer and what I've done for the last couple years is I have created my own color of the year palette. These are the colors that I'm really into. It's what I think you're gonna be wanting to use as well. And so I'm gonna share with you my top picks. Today, I'm gonna be using all Benjamin Moore colors. That way it's really easy. If you wanna be able to use these colors, I'm gonna share each of the colors. I'm gonna share with you different color combinations that you can use with them. And I'm gonna also link everything down below for you. So I hope that you will love this video because I just love this video. I love to be able to do this one and it's really fun for me and I hope you'll love it too and you'll feel really inspired to really create in your home with these colors this year. So don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss out on upcoming content where we will be using these colors in our home and in our clients. Also make sure to check out our paint category because on that you've got lots of videos about all different colors, things to avoid, things to love, and everything in between. So cheers you guys, let's jump in. Okay, so what I've done is I've had each of the colors made in sample form for me so that I could be able to show you a little bit in person. And then of course, my biggest recommendation to you is to always buy the samples of the colors and to test them out in your space. Because when it comes to colors, no place is ever the same. You can take the same color and put it in your bedroom, use it to the living room, put it in your hallway, and stick it on the landing upstairs. It's gonna look different in every one of those spaces. So you really have to try out the different colors. But I think the ultimate thing that I hope you'll take away from this too is just the general direction of colors that I think you're gonna be really drawn to. And these will give you some suggestions to try. And you might try the ones that are kind of close around it if you like the color and it's not working in your own space. But we're gonna talk about all that as we go. So, number one, which one do we have? All right, number one is Black Beauty. You know that I absolutely love having black. This is a color that I use in my own home. You can see the fireplace quite close to this one. This is an absolutely gorgeous black color. According to Benjamin Moore, it is a rich shade of black with a hint of warmth, and I agree. One of the things that, if you haven't checked this out on Benjamin Moore's website, it's one of the features that I think is really, really clever. If you go to the website and you look up one of these colors, you're gonna see there that they have the choice of showing you in morning light, they show you the color in afternoon light, they show it to you in ambient light, and then they show it to you at night. That's a really helpful tool because depending on where your sun hits in your room, how much light you have in there, I think that's a really great tool to really give you a hint of how many ways this color might look in your home. A lot of times people think, for example, my office is actually black, but if you see it in the late afternoon light, it looks almost like medium gray. So the color really can vary depending on when you use the color. So definitely check out that little tool as well. But this is a color that's going to go with almost everything. Probably everything, probably absolutely everything. There's really no color that you could put with this color that isn't going to work. Some of my favorite combinations are taking black and white. Of course, you're not gonna be surprised by that, but I also think that adding in a little bit of Desert Twilight, White Dove, and the Black Beauty looks amazing. You could also go for a light gray and do Wickham gray with Cloud White. Those are all white colors that I've used and I really love, and I think they look amazing with this. We'll also get into some other combinations as we get into some of these other colors too. All right, next up, you guys are not gonna be surprised by this one, and you're going to be grateful if you wanna know what the color is on my fireplace, and that is Midnight Oil. We didn't make this one of our colors last year, and it's ended up being one of the most popular colors of all times in my home. I think this is gonna be a permanent feature on this. I love Midnight Oil because it's a smoky, dark, rich charcoal color. It looks black sometimes, but it's actually a really dark gray. According to Benjamin Moore, a generous dose of black brings a bold edge to this dark blue, a dramatic addition to any space. So I think it's very interesting that they called this a dark blue, because I don't think any of us would have thought that this was dark blue behind me. Even I don't think it really looks that dark blue, but that's because it's got blue undertones, and that's what they're talking about. So of course, I am partial. I think that this color looks great with black. I love to look at it in the morning light. I love to look at it in the afternoon. I love to look at it in ambient light, and I love to look at it at night. This color, of course, I am partial that I love this with black and white, but if you look closely, even at what you see behind me, you're gonna notice there's more shades of colors going on. You could do a simply white like I have on these walls. This is technically Polar Bear by Bear, but the two colors look identical. I have them both in my house and I can't tell which is which. So simply white and this color look amazing, but you could also warm it up a little bit. Go with Oxford white and tree moss, which would reflect the color of the planter down here. You could also look at distant gray and Provence blue. I also think that you could pair this with a navy. I think you could pair it with browns. We're gonna be talking about that in just a minute, but this is a color that's going to really work with pretty much everything. Speaking of navy, let's talk about the navy that is just the perfect navy, and that is Hale Navy. Hale Navy by Benjamin Moore is just perfection. It's just the perfect navy color. I have a very hard time, and so do many designers, finding an alternative that they think is better. So this year, I wanted to put a navy blue into our color palette because I really think that we can use this color throughout the year. It looks amazing on the walls. It looks amazing as an accent color. That's the thing about this color palette, is that it's not just for the walls. It is for pieces of furniture, it's for accessories. It's really the palette that you're gonna use for the entire space. But we give you the paint colors, that way if you wanna use them on your wall or your furniture, you can, but the overall palette is what really works. According to Benjamin Moore, this is a use anywhere shade of navy with a classic maritime feel. It's one of their best-selling colors, and there is a reason. It's because it is awesome. And I am very excited. I've got a client that's getting ready to put this onto her walls. It's gonna look so good. You can do a full immersion with this color. Paint out your bathroom in this color. Paint out your bedroom. You could use this in a dining room. You could use it in a living room if you want a really rich shade on your walls. But you could also do an accent wall where you're gonna have bookshelves. You could use it as an accent color on a piece of furniture. It goes perfectly with our black shades. It looks amazing with those. Some more color combinations that you may want to consider are Coventry Gray and White Dove. That'll give you a little bit more of a maritime kind of feel. It can be very sophisticated, could be very crisp, but you could also go for something that looks a little bit more rustic with this. You could also pair it with Lenox Tan and Glacier White. If you really want to play up just that preppy side of this color, I think that's a really beautiful combination. That's the best part about all these colors, is that no matter what your style is, they're gonna look amazing in your home. I've got one that may be a little bit of a surprise, but I think when you kind of see, oops, let's not make a mess, Okay. Okay, so next up, this is not gonna surprise any of you. We are going with Southern Vine. This color is not gonna surprise you because I love to have green in every single space that I ever do. I think every room needs a little bit of green to really make it feel alive. Greenery just does that. So whether you're gonna bring in some trees or some flowers with some great stems on them, if you wanna bring in this color with your pillows and accent, or if you wanna paint out an entire room, I would suggest a powder room for this one, or a bedroom, really great. I love to have small spaces or spaces that you really want to be cozy. Another great use for this would be a cinema room, an office, amazing. According to Benjamin Moore, this is a dark olive green hue that verges on brown, which is exactly what I like. I really like greens that have a lot of brown undertone. They're gonna go with the other colors. I know I'm giving you a little bit of a hint. They're gonna go with the colors that we're gonna be looking at. They look great with browns like this. They look great with pillows and accessories. You could also paint out walls in these colors and add those as accents. You could think about also a piece of art that would include all of these colors in it. We're gonna get to that in just a minute where you see all of them. But when you start thinking about a Southern Vine, a green color like that, there's a lot of different ways that you can bring it into your home. Also, think about how this looks in the morning light, how it looks in the afternoon, ambient light, and of course, in the evening. It looks great with combinations like misty gray, thundercloud gray. You could also mix it up with snow white and white blue. Those are, I just think of a watery color, watercolor art, like a great landscape. I just picture these colors mixed in like that, and I think that'll really give you a picture for the overall feel. Don't get overwhelmed because I'm not painting my walls in all of these colors. I'm gonna keep a very neutral wall color in my house. It's what I really like, and I'm able to accent with these colors. It's just like my wardrobe. I do wear a lot of black, I do wear a lot of white, but then I've got some accent colors that I wanna be able to add in, and it really just makes all the colors that I have really just come alive. Next up, before we get too light, we got one more that's gonna kind of take us down, and that is caramel apple. I gotta tell you a story. I was opening these up with my husband, Jack. He's in meetings today, so he's sorry he can't be here with us. But this is caramel apple, and the funny thing is that when he picked it up, he was like, he went and actually sniffed it, expecting it to smell like caramel apple. I'm like, darling, that is not a candle. This one is going to pair well. It's gonna really take you down that spectrum, which I think is really important to be able to, I wanted to give you the full palette. That way it really represents fully what a room design looks like and all the different undertones that a space has. So of course, just like in the other ones, you can use this on the walls. You could also think of this color if you think of it in terms of wood tones, or think of it also in terms of metals, like a warm bronze, brassy kind of color would look really, that really represents this color. Let's see what Benjamin Moore has to say about it. According to Benjamin Moore, this is a deep woodsy brown with lush olive undertones, which is why it goes so well with Southern Vine. Are you starting to notice that I really like these sort of muted brownish undertone colors? They really just live really well together, and they make something really spectacular. This one looks absolutely gorgeous in the morning light, in the afternoon light, in the ambient light, and of course at night. Some of the combinations that Benjamin Moore suggests are cloud white and molten. They've also given us deep in thought and truffle. You could take actually all of those colors and put them together, and they're gonna look really muted and soft. I personally think pairing this with the midnight oil, add a little bit of the navy, add a little bit of that Southern Vine, and you're gonna have a really warm, rich color palette. Now, before we get too excited about combining all of these, let me show you the last two, and then we'll talk about how to combine them all. Next up, I have Wind's Breath. Now, to you on the camera, this is why I suggest you get the samples. These are always the hardest ones to show you because you can't really tell the difference here, but it is actually a warm, like off-white color. It's definitely not bright white. If I put this on the wall behind us, you would definitely see a difference between the pure white of that simply white wall. It's warmer. And we've been seeing that whites have been moving to a much warmer color, and even I've been thinking about actually just painting out, you know, some of the rooms in the house and switching them up to something that's just a little bit warmer, because I do think that it can be very inviting. I think those warmer tones just really have a richness to them as well. According to Benjamin Moore, this one has warm gray undertones, which give a neutral and welcoming, relaxed quality. I did almost say that. I didn't read this before, okay? But I do think that that is the exact effect that it's going to have. It's gonna look amazing also in the morning light. It's gonna look absolutely gorgeous in the afternoon light, in ambient light, and also in the evening light. According to Benjamin Moore, they suggest that you pair it with vanilla milkshake and Rockport Gray, or think about adding pashmina and silhouette. I think you could stick all those colors all together. They really just look like an artist's painting, but you could also pair them with the colors that we've been talking about and bring in something that's a little bit more, I just like the touch of black. I just think that a little bit of black goes a long way, and it really just gives you that contrast, that's something striking. So personally, I like it all added in with our own color palette. I'm just picturing everything on this fireplace right here, all this palette, bringing that in through the vase that we've got there, bringing it in through the books. You can see how very easily we've really created the palette literally behind us. I mean, I couldn't have planned what I wore better, right? Because it's really bringing in the entire color palette. Now we can't go without finding out what the last one is. And the last one is, it's Moonlight White. I know it's gonna be really hard for you to see yet again because of the lighting on here, but it is almost a pure white. But it's not quite pure white. I wanted something that was gonna be warmer than simply white, and I think we've nailed it. Let's see what Benjamin Moore has to say about it. According to Benjamin Moore, this is a silvery gray undertone that lends a soothing, relaxed quality to a very versatile white. I think this color looks incredible in the morning, in the afternoon, in ambient light, and of course, looks absolutely gorgeous in the night light. Here Benjamin Moore has suggested that you pair it with Chantilly lace, soft sand. You could also add the Simply White. That gives you a good litmus test there. This is a little bit warmer than Simply White, but it's still fairly close. We're just warming things up just a little bit. I think it looks absolutely incredible with the Bleecker Beige. These are all colors that just work really well together. They have a very earthy feel to them. You could take all of the dark shades and add all dark, or you could take the dark shades and pair them with some of those tan colors, pair them with the lighter, and have a little bit more depth to your design. You can also think about how you might have a white sofa with these colors represented on it through pillows and a throw. Also think about the room. Which one do you want on the walls? You could take the lightest one, put that on the walls. Do what I've done. Add some midnight oil, maybe through a piece of furniture, or if you want to paint your fireplace. You could also bring that in through the rug, and you can start bringing in the other complementary colors. You could also think about painting your walls that tan color, and then bringing in the black and bringing in the light, and suddenly you're gonna have something that might reflect back colors like my closet this year, and the way that I put those more of those tan colors mixed with some black. I think that they make an absolutely compelling combination, and I don't know about you, but I am excited to really jump into these colors and start testing them out. As I said before, I hope that you absolutely love getting to see these colors, but of course, check them in your own space. You could see how different the color looks even depending on what time of day it is and what kind of lighting you have in your room. So check out the colors that are complementary to them if you're thinking about actually using them on your furniture or on your walls. Think about the lighting that you have in your space. But otherwise, I hope that it's just left you feeling super inspired and super excited about what to expect here on House of Valentina. We're gonna be sharing so much more. I use these colors also in fashion, as I mentioned before, so make sure you're following the fashion channel. You can also check out my LTK app. That's where I post a lot of my mood boards, and you can see how this color palette is being used in so many different ways and get a lot of inspiration there as well. I'm gonna leave the links for all of these and some of the items that you've seen featured today. I'm gonna put those down in the show notes for you. So if you're interested, you could check those out. And that way you just get all that inspo and start thinking it through and what you really want. And I think that you could take a piece of art and pull the colors right out of it and start creating an entire palette for a room. So don't be afraid to use these colors as a starting point and then see maybe if that art just helps you really have a good guide for what you want to put into your space. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and you'll also hit subscribe. I can't wait to see how this turns out. I don't know about you, but I want to be there for it. So make sure you hit subscribe so you don't lose us, so we don't end up lost in, the internet. But cheers, you guys. I hope you've had a wonderful time, and I've left you feeling super inspired. I will see you in the next one. Cheers.